There is a brick ranch on this list that has been sitting for 152 days. 5 months. In all that time, 352 people have opened the listing, roughly 2 a day, and the seller has not moved the price by $1. Then you pull up the photographs, and every room has new flooring and fresh white paint. That is South Carolina right now. 46 counties, the coastal plain to the east, hills in the top corner, and a long stretch of small towns in between where the typical house still sells for right around $100,000. I went looking for the ones that had just come on the market, kept up, with real ground around them, and I came back with 9. We are going from the most expensive down to the cheapest, starting at $159,900 and finishing at $35,000. I spent over 20 years selling real estate. Now I just look for the deals I would have kept for myself. Somewhere in the middle of this list, there is a listing with 21 acres printed on it. When we get there, I will tell you what that number actually is. And the last house is priced at something I still have trouble saying out loud. Finding these takes me hours every week, and I enjoy every hour of it. If you enjoy watching them, subscribe to Real Estate Hunter USA and turn the notifications on. The typical house in Chesterfield sells for $129,700. This one is asking $159,900. It is the only house in this video priced above its own town. Hold on to that. 176 feet of frontage with a brick ranch sitting on it. Then you pull up the parcel map and it runs back 1,110 feet back through pine and hardwood to a line 1/5 of a mile from your own front door. 6.5 acres, most of it standing timber. Behind the house, the ground is open and mown, sloping toward the tree line with the woods standing behind it like a wall. And a cut lane runs off the side between 2 stands of trees. It does not go anywhere. Nobody meant it to. By 4 in the afternoon, that lane is the shaded half of this property, and it is the walk you would end up taking after supper without ever deciding to. The floors are the first honest thing about the house. Refinished oak, red-brown, unbroken through the main room. There is a bank of 3 windows across the front wall and a glass panel in the door beside them. Mid-morning, a bright rectangle lands on the boards inside the entry and slides across them for about an hour. Empty room, nothing in it. And it still does that. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. White square tile to shoulder height, a tub under a window. Dated is not the same as broken, and this one is not broken. In the kitchen, there are white cabinets, dark counters, and 1 cabinet standing loose in the middle of the floor. Raw oak, no counter on it, not fixed to anything, just sitting out in the open like it walked in and stopped. That cabinet tells me more than the listing does. Somebody started this kitchen. The floors got done. The front room got done. And then it quit right there. The attached carport is poured concrete, open on 3 sides from June to September, the coolest shade on the property. Downtown Chesterfield is 3 minutes up the road. $159,900 sold as is. So here is what does not line up. $30,000 above the town, above its own estimate. A roof the seller already warned you about. And Zillow still has it flagged as likely to sell faster than 92% of the houses near it. 31 days in, 924 people have opened it. The reason is 2 words in that listing. As is, put a damaged roof and an as is sale in front of an FHA underwriter and the file stops. Same answer from VA. Those 2 programs are how most people at this number buy, and both just closed. Nothing wrong with this house. Something wrong with who is allowed to buy it. The next one has a porch that runs the whole front, turns the corner, and runs the whole side. Somebody put lights in the ceiling of it. There is an oak in front of this house that was here long before the house was, and it has grown out over the roofline far enough that the porch never takes direct sun, not scenery. In this part of South Carolina in August, that is a working piece of equipment. Everything past the clearing is Sumter National Forest, not a neighbor's woods that might get cut next spring, federal ground, thousands of acres of it, starting where the mown grass stops. Lake Thurmond is a short drive. The porch is the reason to be here. It runs the entire front of the house, then turns the corner and runs the entire side. Stained deck boards, solid wood rail, a wood ceiling, and set into that ceiling, recessed lights. Recessed lights. Nobody wires a porch ceiling for the 2 weeks a year a hunting party shows up. You put lights up there because that porch is where the evening happens, 7 months out of 12, and you got tired of doing it in the dark. The listing sells this as a rustic cabin, and the walls are plank, floor to ceiling in every room. But somebody painted them white, and that one decision changed what this house is. From the road, it is a cabin. Through the door, it is a white farmhouse. The 2 do not look like the same building. There are 2 brick fireplaces with mantles, and both have a cover across the opening. Whatever those chimneys used to do, they are not doing it now, and the listing does not mention it. The bathroom is the only room that looks finished on purpose. White vanity, black fixtures, a walk-in shower. Then you look up, and the shower wall stops short of the ceiling with an open gap running across the top of it, and whoever did that room decided it was fine. One bedroom has 3 plank walls and 1 wall of bare drywall with the compound still showing. That is somebody who got most of the way through and set the roller down. 2,041 people have opened this listing. 122 liked it enough to save it. $16,000 came off the price 2 weeks ago. 60 days and it is still here. Here is why. 2 bedrooms and 1 bath at $159,000. For a family living here full-time, it is too small at that number. For the weekend buyer, it is a second home, which means a second home loan, bigger down payment, higher rate, tighter underwriting. And there is no margin in it for an investor because the place is already kept up. Too little house for one buyer, too much money for the next, and nothing on the table for the third. Good house. It fell in the gap between 3 kinds of people. The next one has 4 fireplaces in it. Not one of them works. I counted. Nobody filled in the year this house was built. The listing leaves the box empty. You do not need it. Ceilings this tall, beadboard overhead, plank walls in every room, and a red brick chimney running up the outside wall past the roofline. Nobody puts a chimney on the outside anymore. They did it because the fire was for the room, not the house, and every room got one of its own. The house sits up on brick piers with daylight underneath it. Not neglect, that is how you built out here before anybody poured a slab. Mown yard, big hardwoods, a screened porch on one end with a wooden chair still sitting in it. Inside, this is a restoration that stopped halfway. Some rooms are finished, new floors, new white doors. Some never started. Red shag carpet in one, and in another the original carpet pulled back at the corner with the old board floor showing underneath. And in the front hall, the work stopped mid-sentence. There is a hole in the ceiling with the board showing through it and a ring of staining around the edge. Somebody put a coat of pink paint up there, and then something happened above it. Quikrete bags are stacked in the corner. In the room with the red carpet, a gas heater stands beside the mantel with a galvanized pipe running up the wall and across the ceiling. That pipe tells you how this house has gotten through February for the last 50 years. Now the fireplaces. I counted 4. One in the front room, one where the red carpet is, one painted white, and one with its original dark mantel, a layered cornice cut into it. The best woodwork in the building. Not one of them will light. Every firebox is boarded over. One has a small electric heater set into the opening, which is about the saddest thing you can do to a mantel like that. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,834 square feet, 9 acres, at $134,900. 19 days on the market and 250 people have already saved this listing. 250. That is more than any other house in this video. And not one of them has written an offer. One photograph is doing all of this. They save it, they scroll, they get to the picture of the hall ceiling with the hole in it, and every one of them reads the same word. Roof. Nobody knows that. I do not know that. But a hole in a ceiling in a listing photo will empty a driveway faster than anything else I have ever seen, and I watched it happen for 20 years. The house is fine. One frame in the slideshow is not. The next seller has had 108 days. And in all that time, 768 people have bothered to click on it. I will tell you what that number means. You do not see this house from the road. You turn off and the drive climbs gravel, a wooded bank going up on your left, one big white blooming shrub filling the right side of it. Then it opens out and the house is up there at the top. That drive is the best thing on this property and it costs nothing to keep. In May, you go up through the white flowers. In October, through whatever those hardwoods decide to do. 3.68 acres level a creek down one side, 2 enormous trees out front. Inside, the fireplace is the event. Real brick, with a raised hearth you could sit 2 people on and built-in shelves running up both sides. Somebody set an oval mirror into the wall right above the firebox. A 1970s idea that works, because in the evening it throws the fire back into the room twice. The listing calls this a single-wide with rooms added on over the years. I have been in a lot of single-wides, and none of them came with a masonry chimney like that. Something got built around something here. Walk through, and you can read it like tree rings. One room is knotty pine with a drop ceiling from about 1978. The next is brand new light pine board with a fresh floor under it. Somebody deciding they needed one more room and going out and building it. One room is nothing but window, blinds across the whole wall, and behind them the ground drops away green and open. That is the room you would end up in, and it is the room the last people ended up in. Beside the house, there is a concrete block building. One door, no windows, painted the same blue because somebody had paint left over. It will outlast the house. Gaffney is 10 minutes away. 130,000 sold as is, and the typical house in Gaffney is asking 13,000 more on a lot you can mow in 20 minutes. 108 days on the market, and in all that time, 768 people have opened this listing. The cabin 2 houses back did 2,060 days. This one is not being turned down. It is not being looked at. And here is the sentence that did it. Single wide with rooms added on. Say that to a lender and the conversation ends. A manufactured home carrying additions nobody pulled a permit for is not a house as far as underwriting is concerned. It is a title problem with a roof over it. No central heat, no central air, sold as is on top. So the only people who could live here need a mortgage, and the mortgage is the one thing this property cannot produce. Nothing wrong with the ground, the creek, or the fireplace. The wrong 4 words are in the description. The next one looks finished in every photograph. White walls, a new floor in every room, empty and clean. Nobody has walked through the door. This is the one I opened the video with. 152 days, and I still cannot tell you what is wrong with it. This house is concrete block. Not block with siding, not block with stucco, bare gray block, exactly as it came off the pallet in 1973, with 1 course of red brick under each window sill because somebody wanted it to have one nice thing. Full-width front porch on thin metal posts, brick steps, a carport off one end. Nobody is going to call that pretty. I will tell you what it is instead. Block does not rot. Termites have nothing to eat, and it has stood through every storm off that coast for 53 years with nobody doing a thing to it. Out front, a big bare-limbed oak with mistletoe up in the branches and 2.3 acres of flat ground around it. Inside is a different house. Somebody went through it with a paint roller and a new floor and did not stop. Every wall white, every room the same dark plank floor, front door to back. Empty, clean, and it looks like it is waiting on a moving truck. The living room and the kitchen are one room. No wall, no bar. You stand at the sink looking straight out the front window at the road and that oak tree. Then you notice the stove is not there. There is a hood on the wall and a gap underneath it. One of the upper cabinets has no door. The house is 95% finished, and the last 5% is sitting exactly where your eye lands first. The bathroom is the one room nobody touched. Still the original gray diamond vinyl, 53 years of it, while every other room got something new. And on the right-hand wall, there are 2 capped pipes at waist height and a capped drain in the floor under them. Something was plumbed in right there, and somebody took it out and walked away. 152 days. 352 people have opened this listing in that time, 29 saved it, and the price has not moved. Not once. Not a dollar. You are looking at the same photographs I am. This is not a house people are turning down. So look at the address on the listing. A county road number with 2 separate sets of digits and a letter on the end. Then read the first line of the seller's own description, and it calls the house something else entirely. A street name that appears nowhere else on the page. 2 addresses. 1 listing. Type either one into a map and watch what happens. Nothing finds this house. Not the map. Not the search. Not the person who has been hunting for exactly this for 5 months and lives 40 minutes away. The house is on the market. It was never put on the shelf. The next house has a listing on it that says 21 acres. I told you at the start I would explain that number. The listing on this one says 21 acres, and I have written listings for 20 years, so let me tell you what happened. Look at the photographs. A neighbor's roof on the left, another on the right. Cars parked 40 feet from this porch. Look out the front window and there is a stop sign in it. This is a corner lot in town, and the seller's own description gives you the truth in its first line, 0.21 acres. Somebody typed that into the acreage box, and the decimal did not survive the trip. What is here is a long, low ranch from 2003, pale gray siding, a rough-faced stone foundation running the whole way around. Inside, there is no floor. Not a damaged floor, no floor. Bare subfloor, wall to wall, in every room you would live in. Then you look up, and there is crown molding around the top of every one of them. Crown molding over a plywood floor. Somebody got most of the way to finished and ran out of whatever they ran out of. One of these photographs is just an empty room with the sun coming through 2 windows and the light lying on that raw subfloor in 4 bright squares. Nothing in it, nothing done to it, and it still catches the afternoon. Both bathrooms are finished. The master has an oval garden tub set into a tiled deck, a long vanity, 2 mirrors, a frosted window over the tub. So there is a garden tub in this house and no floor in the bedroom you would walk to it from. The kitchen is the part nobody expects at this number. Cherry cabinets with raised panels, tile counters, a double stainless sink, and a big curved bar you could put 4 stools at. 2,500 people have opened this listing in 10 days. Nothing else in this video has moved that fast, and I think I know what brought a good share of them. They saw 21 acres in the box. Here is the number that should have been there. The typical house in this town asks $119,000. This one is asking $89,900, $29,000 under the town, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, Columbia 36 minutes down the road. Rent on a 2-bedroom here runs $920 a month. 8 years of that rent buys this house outright. So why is it sitting? Because of what is under your feet. The investor runs it. and the spread goes thin the moment you floor 1,700 square feet and buy every appliance in the building. The family who would live here cannot get a loan on a house with no floor covering. The appraiser writes that down and the file stops. Too little margin for one of them. Too much work for the other. A garden tub, a cherry kitchen, and nothing to walk on. The next seller has had 109 days to think about the price and has moved it $2,000. 2. Whoever took these photographs came back at dusk. The sky has gone pink behind the roofline and every window is lit up gold. Nobody is home. Somebody drove out here, turned on every light in an empty house and waited for the light to go. From the air, it is a dirt lane, a house at the end of it, cultivated fields on 3 sides with the rows still showing, and more ground across the road that comes with the sale. There is a standing seam metal roof on the house, and the listing does not even mention it. The washer and dryer are on the screened porch, next to 2 plastic chairs and a cross-stitched welcome sign somebody framed. Some of the panes have been boarded from the inside, and the paint is curling off the walls in strips. The rest of the house is still furnished. The dining room still has the table set, 6 pressed-back oak chairs, a lace cloth, a china cabinet with the glass doors still full. Nobody cleared this place out. They took the photographs around it. The kitchen table is chrome-legged with a pink speckled Formica top and 4 vinyl chairs pulled up to it, not a chip on it. Somebody hung a heavy gilt mirror on the kitchen wall, carved frame, right above the counter. There is no practical reason for that mirror. It is there because whoever lived here thought the kitchen deserved one. One bedroom has electric blue shag carpet, a white chenille bedspread with the fringe still hanging straight, and a cordless phone on the nightstand in its cradle. There is no furnace. 2 gas heaters standing out from the wall and window units in the summer. That is how this house got through 79 winters. 79,900 on an acre, 7 minutes from King Street, where the typical house asks 104,300 and rent on a 2-bedroom runs 780 a month. 8.5 years of that rent buys this place and the ground across the road. 109 days and the seller has moved the price once. $2,000. 2. That is not a price cut. That is a shrug, and I can tell you exactly what a $2,000 cut means. Nobody has told them anything. No low offer, no ugly inspection. Nothing came in at all. Here is why. 1 sentence in the listing you would read straight past. Much of the property history is unknown. An estate sale. Whoever owned this house is gone, and the family selling it never lived here, so there is no disclosure. Nobody can tell you when the roof went on or what the septic has done. And a buyer fills an empty file with the worst thing they can think of every time. Metal roof, an acre, a house full of furniture. 1 sentence emptied the driveway. The next one is the only listing in this video that promised me something and then showed it to me. The listing on this one says something I do not usually repeat, because usually it is not true. It says you can sit on the covered front porch with iced tea and watch the fireflies. So look at the porch. Wrought iron posts with the scrollwork still in them, a beadboard ceiling painted pale yellow, a concrete floor worn down where people walked on it. And past the rail, a street with a mailbox and 1 blue house across the way with a porch of its own. No through traffic. The listing says that too, and that is also true. 8 houses into this video, that is the first seller who told me something and then handed me the proof. Out back, past the mown grass, a small outbuilding under the trees painted the same peach as the house. That is the acre. An acre of ordinary, useful ground with a shed on it. 3 rooms in this house are knotty pine, and no 2 of them are the same color. One is honey. One is orange with the afternoon on it, and one has gone deep red-brown the way pine does when it has had 60 years to think about it. Every one has an acoustic tile ceiling and a fan hanging down. The kitchen is where this house tells the truth. 2 cabinet doors are chipped with the paint coming off. The front edge of the countertop has worn through, and you can see the board underneath. Call it a weekend and about $800, and the listing hid none of it. Now the strangest number in this video. The typical house in Whitmire sells for $56,900. This one is asking $59,900. It is priced above its own town, and it is the best condition house in this video. Floors down in every room, an acre around it, a shed out back. Rent on a 2-bedroom here runs $840 a month. 5 years and 11 months of that rent buys the whole thing. So the reason nobody has bought it is not the price. Inside Whitmire, this looks like an ordinary house at an ordinary number, because in Whitmire it is 1. A town of 1,000 people does not produce a buyer for every house in it. The buyer for this one lives somewhere else, and somewhere else has never heard of Whitmire, South Carolina. On a map, the county reads like the end of the road. It is an hour to Greenville. They took $100 off the price last month. 100, not a cut, a keystroke. You drop it 100 so the listing pops back up as reduced. It means the agent is trying and the phone is not ringing. There is nothing the matter with this house. Nobody outside the town line knows it exists. The last one has a tarp on the roof. That tarp is the only thing standing between it and a buyer. $35,000. I have been putting off saying that number since the first minute of this video. The typical house in this town sells for $104,900. This one is going for a third of what the town costs. Rent on a 2-bedroom here is $820 a month. 3 years and 7 months of that rent buys the house outright, both lots, the oak floors and the chandelier included. Zillow has a line on this listing I have not seen on any other house today, likely to sell faster than 100% of the houses nearby. 24 days later, 1,250 people have looked at it, and it is still sitting there. So walk it with me. White asbestos cement siding, which nobody makes any more and nothing eats. A block foundation. A covered slab at the back with wrought iron posts holding the roof up. Big oaks over the whole lot. And a tarp on the roof. Not a patch, a tarp over the whole thing, and at the back you can see the ridge has gone soft underneath it. Inside, the original oak runs through every room. Worn, scratched, and in 2 rooms, paint is spilled across the boards, red in one and blue-green in the other, dried where it landed. One weekend with a sander. The dining room has a 15-pane French door on one wall, and a brass chandelier with green glass panels hanging over where the table used to be. Out both windows, there is nothing but green. Somebody painted over the bathroom tile in navy blue, straight onto the glaze, and it is coming off in flakes. Somebody trying to make a bathroom feel new for about $40. And in 2 bedrooms, somebody painted names on the wall by hand. A boy's room with a game controller under his name. A girl's room with a crown and the word flawless in black script, and crayon marks down low where somebody much smaller had a go-to. This is a foreclosure. Whatever happened to the family that painted those walls is theirs and not ours. What it changes is not just who owns the house. It changes who is allowed to buy it. Go back to that roof. Call any insurer in this state and ask them to bind a policy on a 1959 house with asbestos siding and a tarp on top. They will not quote it high. They will not quote it at all. No insurance means no lender because no bank funds a house it cannot insure. And once the loan is gone, the only buyer left is somebody with $35,000 in an account who is willing to spend it in a town of 4,000 people. That buyer exists. There are just not many of them. The cheapest house I have ever put in one of these videos was $25,000. This one is $35,000 and it came with a chandelier. Nothing on that list is a complaint about the house. That was South Carolina. 9 houses from $159,900 down to $35,000. A cut lane running back through the pines that does not go anywhere. A porch wired for after dark. 4 fireplaces and not one of them lit. 21 acres that turned out to be a decimal point. A kitchen table with a pink Formica top and not a chip on it. And a set of names painted on a bedroom wall. Here is the thing to take out of this one. Not one of these was a bad house. Go back and count what actually stopped each one. 2 words in a listing, a hole in one photograph, 4 words in a description, an address that does not resolve on a map, a missing floor, a sentence about unknown history, a town line, a tarp. That is the whole list, and every item on it is paperwork, a search box, or an underwriting rule. Not one of them is a crack in a wall. That is where the discount actually comes from, and it is the part nobody puts in the listing. So here is the practical door. If you are buying with a mortgage, ask about the loan before you fall in love. FHA and VA will refuse an as-is roof. If you are paying cash, this whole video is your aisle. And on any of them, ask for the insurance quote first. On the last one, it is the entire deal. I priced houses for 20 years. Half of these I would have taken the listing on in a heartbeat. I told you there was a listing in the middle of this list with 21 acres on it, and now you know what that number was. And I said the last house was priced at something I had trouble saying. $35,000. Every one of these is linked in the description. Go look for yourself and check every number before you act on it. Subscribe to Real Estate Hunter USA, turn the notifications on, and I will see you in the next state.